Today I will be sharing a new build with you all for a wizard that can be used for either raids or challenge dungeon depending on whatever you like doing more. The build is pretty good for AOE and single target damage as well. And before we go any further, this build is not mine. It was shared to me by Nedwa on Discord, one of the Diablo Immortal Discord, so the credit goes to him. We were just talking about for the raid build, and he shared the one that he was using for a wizard for the raid, and I end up liking it, and I have been using it now for the dungeons and the raids as well. Now we will be doing a training dummy test here to see how much damage we can do versus a single target, but keep one thing in mind, the build is very mobile, everything moves with us, and it has a nice AoE radius as well. So let's stay close to the dummy somewhat here, and let's go for 1 minute test here and see how much damage we can get. Now I'm using my whole resonance here to do this test, but it shouldn't matter all that much because my gem setup isn't the best when it comes to increasing the damage. I'm using quite a lot of dot gems and Stonewall as well, which isn't that good for a single target damage, but my gem setup is somewhat really good when it comes to PvP. Anyhow, let's go for a couple of seconds more here so you guys can see how much damage we can get, and then we will dive into the build itself. Really fun build to use, I like it. And a couple of seconds more, we'll go for 1 minute test here, and then I'll stop. Almost done, and there we go, 4.5 million damage. Now again, my gem setup isn't the best when it comes to the overall damage. I'm using Viper Bite, I'm using the Sleeping Bell, and you can easily change those gems with something like the Moon Skull, and the Fervent Fang will give you quite a lot more damage. You can change this Stonewall to Peen Clasp, and you can imagine I would get so much more damage that way. But anyhow, another thing, I don't have intelligence on any of my pieces here. Everything is 48 willpower, so my base damage isn't all that high either. Same from the Sanctum. I'm not using anything in Sanctum to increase the damage. Everything is focused on potency, resistance, and willpower. And so my base damage isn't that good either, but still you guys can see end up getting quite a decent damage here, 4.5 million damage per second, pretty good. And if you think this is interesting, let's dive into the build itself now. Starting with the skills, of course, we are using Magic Missile, Lightning Nova, then we are using Arcane Torrent, Slow Time, and Disintegrate. Now for the Paragon, this is what I use usually. Slinger here. I can make some changes here, like get this. For every meter you have from an enemy, your damage against them is increased. I could go and swap this out as well, but it is a really good PvE Paragon tree here, Slinger. And for the Warband bonus, as always, I have been using the Protector that gives me block chance, and making sure I have the Remnant Shepherd Burden that increased the size of my character. That helps me move a bit quicker. The larger your character, the more quicker it will move. That is a thing inside of Diablo Immortal. But anyhow, another important thing here to note that we should look at, if I use my Arcane Torrent here, let me show you guys, you will see the Arcane Torrent doesn't have all that high of a skill cooldown, and I can have 100% uptime for an Arcane Torrent. It is working basically at all times. Now this is thanks to me having the skill cooldown on my rings and amulet as well, and then focusing on a beneficial effect duration increase. So these skills here that we are using, Disintegrate, Slow Time, Arc and Torrent, and those three skills are considered beneficial effects, and you can increase the duration of those skills by having more beneficial effect duration on your gear pieces. It comes on shoes, belt, it comes on the chest here, then the legs as well, and then what you can do is get some more beneficial duration from two-piece wedges, and you can also roll that on your reforged bonuses as well. Beneficial duration effect increase. So you can roll this on all 8 pieces. That way you can get 100% uptime on the Arcane Torrent, Slow Time, and Disintegrate. And of course, Awakening these slots here is totally worth it. It will give you some damage and it will reduce the cooldown of some of the skills as well. So now the important stats are out of the way. Always important to showcase this in case someone new is watching. So there we go. And now let's dive into the set pieces what we're using here. 4-piece Virtus Arches. Again, using 2-piece to extend the beneficial duration. It helps with some of the gems as well, like the Gloom, Bottle Hope, and even the Wolf that I'm using. It extend the duration of those gems and even extend the duration of rolling consequence. Super important to have beneficial duration. It helps so much with the skills, some skills and modifiers, and even gems. So 2-piece Virtus we are using. Then 4-piece bonus is going to extend or increase the speed of our primary by 30%. Super good, since we will be using primary a lot in single target and a lot of damage comes from there. And then I'm using 4 pieces of Banquet, since I'm somewhat focused on the dot damage over time. Seeping Viper, I am using that. You can go use the 4-piece Grace as well and might even get more damage. I don't have the Grace right now, but Nedra recommended using 4-piece Grace of the Fleshman, but 4-piece Banquet still works somewhat good, gives you 15% increased damage. Once you apply a poison onto the enemy, you will deal 15% more damage to them from all sources, and you can also get more critical hit chance as you apply harmful effects to the enemies. And I do that by having Seeping Pile and Viper Bite, and Rolling Consequence Fire also help me do that. So these are the secondary pieces we are using. Now let's dive into the modifier or the essences here. Starting with the helm, we are using it for the slow time. Slow time now surround you with a static field that follow you, damaging and applying shock to your nearby enemy. Super good. Then our chest is for the lightning nova. Lightning nova now calls a lightning orb to orbit you, dealing damage to enemies it hit. Super good. And then we are using the shoulder for a Disintegrate. Disintegrate now surround you with an entropy field that follow you, damaging and making nearby enemies vulnerable to critical hit. Really, really good. And then the legs is for the Arcane Torrent. These are a bit older pens. Arcane Torrent now fire tracking missile that seek out enemies, dealing 15,000 damage, and our damage is increased by 90%. We're getting another 10% damage from the Awaken. These pens are a bit older, but still one of the best for the Arcane Torrent skill. And speaking of Arcane Torrent, our first weapon is for the Arcane Torrent. Arcane Torrent now create a chaotic orb that moves with you and fire Arcane Missile. Basically the one skill that I was showing you guys early. The second one here, the second main hand, is for the Lightning Nova. Every time you use the Lightning Nova, it increases your primary attack speed by 30%. In my case, this is giving me a bit more damage, but you can go try out some of the other essences for the Lightning Nova as well and see if it changes anything for you. In my case, this was giving me quite a lot more damage. And our first offhand is again for the Lightning Nova. Every time you shock an enemy, and hit them with the Lightning Nova, you get 1 free Lightning Nova. Super good. And then we are using Blasticast for the Magic Missile. Now, this is what we are using and I like it, but if you want to increase your movement speed a bit, you can change this to one of the other essences to increase your movement speed. You will reduce some damage, but we can change this to Lightning Nova and go with scoring Scree here. Ally struck by Lightning Nova gain 30% increased movement speed. So if we put this on and use it for a dungeon, this is how it will be. You will have a bit more movement speed and 100% uptime on this, and this is how basically the build will work. You will have a bit more movement speed for dungeon if you are running with a really good group. This is how you will be moving, basically 100% uptime for the movement speed. And yeah, there we go. These are the build. Hopefully you guys will like it, and I see you all in the next one. You guys have a great day. Later.